All right, good morning, everyone. As we get a week off from NASCAR, quickly, a lot of things in this one. So one, I'm doing this for fun. I don't cover F1. Like I don't offer any projections. I play it a lot. So this is gonna be a really like blunt, like in depth. I think it's gonna be very fun to talk about. It's not just gonna be a pick show. Because I really am gonna tear F1 a new one in terms of covering it. Two, I set this up for 10:48 or 10:45 p.m. on accident. I checked this morning and I was like, oh, I need to change that to 11. And so I thought I changed it to 11 o'clock. So I was like rushing down here. I was like, oh shit, I have it set for 10:45. Thirdly, I'm probably just gonna talk for probably like the first 20-ish minutes or so. I'm not even gonna look at chat. I just want to go through everything I want to talk about. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk F1. I'm gonna talk through this as a you already know how F1 works. You already know how all that does. This is typically everything I would normally just put in my Discord that I do. In terms of F1 this year alone, I've tied for first. Second, technically three times because I ran the same line twice in one of the weekends. We've had a good year so far in F1. I'm not at the top. I don't think top like 30 in terms of ROI on it, but I'm certainly at least probably in the top 100 this year. I've done well entering 2 lines. I've done well entering 20 lines. I've lost everything with 3 lines. I've lost everything with 12 lines, whatever the case may be. F1 is very much like an esport. Points are very, very close. And I think nearly every week I've played at least the second or third highest line. It just depends if you play the optimal or not, and depend on when people get wrecked out and things of that nature. So let's go ahead, let's dive in, let's have some fun, let's talk about this. So when we look at F1, and if this is a bit childish or whatever, I doubt I'm going to do another F1 stream this year, so I'm just getting everything out. F1 is basically just a bunch of if-then statements. That's all it is across the board on everything. If this teammate beats the other teammate, he's gonna get 5 points. If this guy doesn't beat his teammate, he'd lose the 5 points. I mean, it's a lot of this stuff you could do in your head if you're not already considering that. On top of using an optimizer just to look through a vast majority of builds and stuff. If you're not already doing this in your head, you're already kind of behind. These are all the things that you need to be aware of, and these are the things that I normally do. For me, and this might piss some people off. This might make some people mad. It's part of the reason why I didn't want to cover F1 this year, and I don't know why. I made Pierce so mad when I was so adamant about I don't want to cover F1 this year because I don't use projections. You're going to be really pissed off when you hear me say that. You want to know my projections are? Here, I'll show you what I do. I mean, I have the entire thing built, and also my camera is blocking my things here, so it's difficult for me to see, so I'm just looking on stream. I have the entire thing here, and these are the projections I'm using for today. When it came down to looking at F1, looking at how lineups are built and things like that, it made no fucking sense to me to even continuing projecting laps led, projecting the 3-point bonus, okay, because the winner normally gets those. The winner is most likely absorbing a majority of the lap led points. It made no real reason to project constructors because it's just based on what you are able to afford with your line of construction. Okay, so this is all I do, and it's literally just a visual cue for me. Like today, I think now Joe, I always say Shao because I'm not trying to be racist. I always just read it like an idiot. Joe is a good play today if you're looking for a guy that has no negatives other than not beating Bottas, but there's a chance that he does that. In the grand scheme of things, Zhao makes a lot of sense today. Projection-wise, I just wanted to look how I would normally project him, I normally project him anyway. Like I do not have him projected to beat his teammate. I am projected to score 0, okay? But Zhao makes a lot of sense when you build lineups. I will probably have a Zhao lineup today. I don't know how many lines I'm going to do. I'm not going to do like 18. I'm not fucking doing that. But I'm probably playing Zhao because he has a lot of upside, to be honest with you. But this is all I do. I just put in where I think they're going to finish. I have it set up to give me what their finishing things are, plus their teammate. I don't fucking bother, and this is what we look at. This is what I build in my head and what I throw in, or not throw in the optimizer. But this is what we're doing. So like realistically, look, Sargent probably going to score 1 point today by just finishing the race. But look, anything can happen. Albon can get in a wreck. And that's another reason. Like F1, the reason why I don't want to cover it each and every week is because it looks like the content is crap when you just say, play Verstappen in the driver position each week, and it's not like you're mailing it in. It just like the math just works out to where you need the captain and stuff, And so like today, when we're building lines, when we're looking at this weekend's race, and this one is. When we're looking at this weekend's race, we need to go in understanding that, what is it? What's his name? I just went blank. What's his name? The team that Alonso and Stroll race for. They brought upgrades on Alonso's car. Stroll really shit the bed in qualifying, just absolutely shit the bed there. Williams brought upgrades to Albon, but when we look at the practice stuff, F1 was a wash. F1 practice one didn't even really exist. And then we had rain conditions in basically the other two practice sessions and in qualifying. This will be the first time this whole weekend that we technically see a pretty dry racetrack. Now, we had quite a lot of dry spots towards the end of qualifying, in and out of the practice sessions and stuff. Who has been the fastest car this year in dry conditions? Who's been the fastest car this year on intermediate conditions? Who's been the fastest car this year on wet conditions? It's Max Verstappen. Okay? The only negative we see this week is the gearbox issue. Does the transmission survive the race? Okay? But for the most part, Max is most likely going to work in this situation. Okay? So we just play Max and move on. If you want to argue playing him in the captain position, I would really disagree to that. This weekend as where we at? I don't remember where it is. Yeah, like if you play the expensive captain, you're giving up playing, guys who are going to be battling for positions, okay? So like this weekend, if you're paying up for a Verstappen captain, you're losing out on probably grabbing Russell or Lewis. You're probably missing out on grabbing a Ferrari if you can get to them. You're probably missing out on a McLaren if you can get to them, and so on and so forth. And you're at the bottom of the barrel of guys who aren't going to get in the points. F1 is literally just a bunch of if-then statements based on what your lineup is. Okay, and so when we dive into this race and we dive into who we can actually viably play, okay, a lot of what I'm seeing. From runs, from builds, and we'll even bring this back up, even though people are going to get pissy. People are going to be like, these aren't real projections. You're not even projecting for laps led. Like, bruh, look, for the most part, this gets you through. This gets you through the finish line, all right? So we put Verstappen in the regular driver position. I don't foresee a situation where a captain Verstappen is going to work. And also, since I'm not covering F1 and I don't sell projections, I mean, we can look at like a Verstappen line of how it would look, and it just looks horrible. This is, where we at? So, like, a Verstappen lineup, a high Verstappen lineup. Also, we can talk constructors in a second, because this weekend, based on the grid and based on, Mercedes being up there, there are viabilities with different constructors. But for like a Verstappen line, like you would have to go like Verstappen, and then you're probably playing 2 guys or 3 guys who are most likely not going to get the 5-point bonus. Like you would end up, and that's why I have this here, so we can be like a high projected line with very little possibility of being optimal would be like a max captain. You have a Sargent. You have probably Joe. I always say Gaijin because of his name. Does his name in English not look like the developer for War Thunder? So I always like shit on him and say Gaijin Zhao, which is probably going to get me canceled, whatever the case may be. At this point, when we're building, and this might be redundant. This might, some people might not enjoy this type of content, but this is how you should cover F1 if you're actually going to do it. It's a fucking time-consuming process. If you're playing him in the captain position, it's most likely a situation where Red Bull is there as the constructor. So at this point, with just these 3 guys, you have 3,200 left on average. Okay, I can tell you right now, we're not paying up for nearly anybody. Okay, we're not getting anybody who's good. Okay, you are left to go with Nick and either Albon or Magnussen. Okay, and that's just not a viable way to build. You are missing out on people who are going to score in the points. You are missing out on people who are going to score well. You are missing out on people who are going to like actually be in consideration. So that's like not a build that I would encourage anybody to play this weekend. Okay, even if it projects good in paper, good in optimizers, I would advise against it. What we're most likely looking at, specifically if we're playing Max and the driver, which we're going to do left and right. And I'm not going to continuously just build all these just for my own sanity's sake, but I will certainly get you like 3 or 4 drivers in, because this is what I do when I build my own lineups. This is how I look at them and stuff. When we're looking at lineups that are most likely going to work, we are trying to most likely get a cheaper captain, okay? Whether it be Nick, whether it be Joe, whether it be who's the other cheap guy that was popping off? You can, if you want to talk Hulkenberg, you can, like, there is no bad plays in F1 in terms of trying to get different. Okay, I think Hulkenberg is a bit of a trap play. There's a real chance he falls at least to 9th or 10th, and there's a real chance Magnussen passes him in the race. But when you're building a cheap captain, the 2 guys that make the most sense to me today to get different is probably him, and where is the other feller? I've already ran stuff, but I haven't even decided my lines yet, so this is why I'm doing this. Probably, I think Kevin can make an honest play. And a situation that is unlikely, but if he ends up beating Yuki for the 5 positions, for the 5 points, and he probably finishes 2 or 3 spots up the grid to get you the bonus here. Where are we at here? Like I got Yuki passing. This is why projections don't fucking matter with F1. It's literally just building whatever you can to score the max amount of guys in your lineups as possible. So like as I just said, I have Nick as a guy that I would probably consider playing captain. Okay, all he has to do is beat Yuki. What's the likelihood he can beat Yuki? Pretty slim. When at 30% range that he does do that, he's probably the optimal captain. Okay, Zhao, probably the optimal captain if he beats his teammate. Not projected wise, but that gets you to the optimal pretty easily. When we're looking at constructors this weekend, okay, yes, I usually want to chase Red Bull. This is a situation where Sergio and Red Bull messed up in Q. They put him out on the wrong tires, wrong time, bad situation there. Ends up qualifying 12th. We probably see Sergio finish 7th today. We clearly going to see Verstappen win unless he blows the transmission. That's a situation there. Does the difference in points that the Red Bull constructor give you at 13.8, is that amount enough to jump over Mercedes at $8,800? Is that enough to jump over Aston Martin? With a real situation where Lance Stroll probably finishes like 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, somewhere around there. I just have him for 11th right here. There's a real chance Aston Martin doesn't pay off the $9,500. There's a real chance that Ferrari, I know they're 10th and 11th right now, if they can both move up and finish 5th and 6th, maybe, okay? But your only constructors that are in the running today that you can build with are Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes. My primary interest being Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari in that order, okay? Going back to the early constructions, a lot of these are indicating that we should probably put Red Bull in the constructor. I am looking towards probably not trying to do that and getting to Mercedes in the constructor today, only due to the fact that you are not going to see them project well in the optimizers and stuff. But when you look at who you can throw in your lineup, it makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of contenders who are going to be up there competing for the points, competing for good finishing positions, so on and so forth. This thing is giving me a lot of ugly. Let me rerun this here. Because, like for example, I say that, and then it's like, deeply optimizers tell me, like, to play fucking Gasly as the captain with Mercedes. Let me rerun this with just logging in Mercedes, and I'll make my point as I continue to build. Let me get this set up here. And so if this is boring, if this isn't helping you or whatever, like, this is what you have to do for F1. F1 is the most boring sport to cover. I don't understand. I'm still incredibly pissed by how everything went with Pierce and I. And I don't know if this is I look at this as like the focal point. And he was like, we gotta do F1 stuff. I don't use the F1 sheets, dude. I don't even use fucking projections for F1. Why would I waste my time building sheets for F1? I don't enjoy covering it. And he got super pissed off with that response when I was adamant about not wanting to do F1 coverage. All right, now that this is ran, I want to see what captains it's wanting to give me here. I'm going to assume that it's still wanting to use pretty cheap guys, so it's still showing me Nick. It's still showing me Zhao here and there. It's showing me a little bit of Fernando. I mainly want to... I wish I could show this because it makes more sense. Here, we'll kind of build them on. If we're using... When you use Mercedes as your constructor, we're clearly using Max and stuff as well. We're looking at situations to where the optimizers usually want to pay up for a captain. I'm usually a bit hesitant with that. If it's not a guy who's going to compete for first or second. In this situation, Fernando Alonso is a very expensive captain as well. If we're not playing Max, I don't necessarily want to pay the $15,000 for Fernando. I want to try and either get to like Russell makes a ton of sense today. High likelihood Lewis beats him. Okay, but in the situations where like GPP tournament wise, building lineups that have, and this is a situation where I nearly never focus on trying to get off of duplicates, but for F1 specifically, if I'm doing like less than 5 lines, I'm trying to get off the duplicates. There's just no fucking sense in me really waste my time to just tie with everybody in the sense here. We've been through that enough. Nothing's worse than playing the optimal lineup and you fucking win a $300 on F1. So like Russell makes a ton of sense. I will probably look at building a George Russell type of lineup only because this is a situation where like Russell could finish third. He beats his teammate, scores very well because he's finishing third or even fourth. But he just needs to beat Lewis, okay? Regardless if you're using Mercedes as a constructor or not. But like Russell makes a lot of sense because you get to Russell, you get Max, okay? That leaves you $4,800 for your remaining guys, okay? You got some good, honest like decisions. You could easily go Magnussen. You could, regardless of what you think about Joe, you can easily go Magnussen. You could easily go Alexander. You could easily go Bottas. Like it's wide open. Like these are the types of lines that make sense. If you wanted to even punt even more with that, which this, like I said, like Joe just makes a ton of sense today as the captain. He really does. Because if you go, let me bring this up. If you go Joe, you go Verstappen, you go Mercedes as a constructor, this leaves you $7,000 to chase whoever you want, okay? There's a real chance Esteban can stay up there, can finish in the points. There's a real chance Russell's going to stay up there, finish in the points. Hamilton's very expensive, so it's difficult to get to those guys. But like the true like contenders to stay up in the front, to stay in the points, like you could say Lando Norris, you could say Oscar, but those guys clearly have risk and stuff. Which if you want to get different, I would encourage in F1 to get different. If you believe that there's going to be not a lot of passing, I think it's going to be very difficult to see a situation where the Ferrari drivers don't push people out of the top 10. You don't see Perez push people out the top 10. But like Esteban is going to stay up there, you know? So like this makes a lot of sense, this type of build. You have Zhao, which all he has to do, as I said, see, I go between Zhou and Zhao a lot. It's so annoying. I'm sure people just absolutely hate it. All he has to do is be his teammate. He gets the 5 points, finishes, that's 6. He ends up with 9 in the constructor, or in the captain position. You go Max, wins the race. Ocon gets the points. You got $73 left to go wherever you want. You know, you can chase guaranteed 5 points. You can chase guys with upside to finish in the top 10. You could go to Russell. You know, I know he might not have a high likelihood of beating Hamilton, but that leaves you $6,600 on the table. Like, this type of build is a build that I probably will use. Like, this is how I build F1 lineups. What makes sense here? The winner, most likely a top 7 contender, most likely a top 5 contender. Mercedes is most likely to have both drivers finish inside the top 6. Okay, so you're most likely getting the highest scoring and the best point for dollar constructor. You're getting the race winner. You're getting probably the best value. You know, all he has to do is beat his teammate. That situation. Now, if he doesn't beat his teammate, he fucking scores you 0 and the line's dead. That doesn't cash. You know, a lot of people don't like that. They're like, who do you play in cash? How do you play cash for F1? You just don't play cash. What are you, an idiot? Why are you still playing cash in the year of our Lord 2023? I pray. I didn't even check. I hope my mic is. Oh, I've just been rambling. Okay. At least I was like, dude, because I've been messing with my Oculus and shit, recording on VR chat. I was like, dude, I hope I didn't just mute my mic and was just talking for 20 fucking minutes. But like, that's the type of build that makes a lot of sense. You know, that's a situation where I want to go to. If you don't want to go Russell at $8,000, you can chase one of the Ferrari guys. You know, if you believe that a Ferrari is going to show enough speed to get through the field, you can chase a Ferrari guy, you know, so on and so forth. Like that, these are the types of builds, you know, that I would want to go with. You know, some people might not like that. I'm like, what? Why are you building these lines? Like, this is what you do. Okay, if you're not approaching it like this, I don't really know what we're doing. I just really don't get it. You know, when we're looking at what these are here, you know, how can we get some of the highest guys, okay? Like Leclerc, as I said, if you don't want to go Russell, because if Russell beats Hamilton here, like, you know, swap these guys here, or we'll do it here so you guys can see. Like, if you swap these two drivers, and you give the 5 points to, and you swap where these guys are at, yeah, you see Russell's probably going to be one of the highest scoring guys if that happens. All he has to do is beat Hamilton. Situation there, and he could probably work out even not beating Hamilton. Same thing with Leclerc. You know, we see him with 15 points. I got him finishing 6. We can bump that back and still say he beats his teammate. We'll bump both these guys back a position each in case they run into issue, and you can go back as far as you want. But you still see that Leclerc is probably going to be, you know, argue to be at, you know, a top 5 scorer in terms of fantasy points. You know, we see that these guys are most likely going to compete to be, you know, pretty decent scorers. It just depends on what they're at. That's why, like, Magnussen makes a lot of sense. People might want to go Nico because he has a track position starting 5th. That was a fluky situation because he was gonna, you know, before he blew the motor, and you know, he was able to run a lap in the final qualifying session before we got the yellow for Oscar spinning out. But like, realistically, Nico's probably gonna run, you know, 10th, 11th, 12th. Like, realistically, where has Nico been finishing? He's clearly been the worst of the F1, he's clearly been the worst of the Haas teammates. Like, why are we playing somebody who has track time, track speed, right at like 15th, 14th all the time? Like, there's a real chance that Nico does not hold on to this position. He does not hold on to a day in the points. He doesn't hold on, or he doesn't beat his teammate. You know, so like, Magnussen makes a lot of sense. And so on. You just, like I said, a bunch of if-then statements. If this happens, then this. If this lineup works, it's because of this situation here. Let's do it based on like when you drastically change the projections and stuff. That's why, like, projections I cannot implore you enough. Projections do not matter for F1. Maybe like this ground, like having an idea of where people are going to score, but like for the most part, it's like you can see what I have Zhao at. I would still build with him. I would still build with Nick. I would still build, like, everybody's in play other than, like, clear plays that I don't foresee happening. Like Oscar, I might be a bit mean to the guy. I might be a bit harsh here. You know, him starting 8, because he has finished 13th, 10th, 19th, 11th, 8th, 15th, and 20th. You know, there is a chance that he could hold on to, like, a 10th place score, but, like, for the most part, it just, you know, whatever. This is more of a ramble video, but I hope that this is helping you in some form or fashion. If you build just off of this, where we, like, I'll show you how drastically different it is. If you don't build with Joe as the captain, and you build off of, like, what this would have, or just an idea, like, when you lock yourself into projections, that's what I found a lot of issue with last year, is I would lock myself into projections and just be, you know, absolutely pissed. Like Monaco and stuff. When Yuki misses the corner late in the race, that changes everything for the scoring. And all these teams are so close together. It's absolutely, I think you should just approach it with no projections at all, and just understand what each team has the upside of doing and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and that is starting. Let's go ahead and stand here if I can click it. And now I'll read chat. I have no clue how many of you guys are here. I have no idea how many are watching this. I didn't even bother putting it up on Twitter, because I'm sure I'll get some idiot or some Scrooge being like, "You're not covering it correctly," blah, 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 whatever the case may be. So let's go ahead and look through here. Thank you very much for the super chat, Pat. I do appreciate the support. 33 of you guys watching, so clearly nobody really gives a shit about F1. That's why I don't do live shows or anything. I talk about it in Discord and stuff. But thank you guys, the 33 of you guys here. Thank you for being here. I hope that ASC, Sterling, Stukas from the Discord are also chilling and hanging out and stuff. Hope you guys are here. I know you guys don't normally comment on the live shows, but yeah. So let's go ahead and check and see what you guys are saying. What's going on, Kay? Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Max, and I mean, I didn't even bother getting into that situation here, but like Max, Captain, and Mercedes, like that's way more viable than like Red Bull and stuff. So we'll even add that to this, which is probably a build that I'll do. Like this one, I'm for sure probably playing this line. I'll see what it does, because once I'm done with this live show, I'll rerun stuff and look at how lineups specifically do projection wise. Like that's that's when I will use projections. Like after I have builds, when I want to run them head to head to see what the likelihood of them outscoring and by how much. But like this is a build I'll use. I'll probably do. If I think I can make it work, Max and Mercedes. If not, I feel way more confident in just having Max and Mercedes as the driver. But that's where I'm at there. Hamilton or Russell, captain lineup. C. Crip, and I know this is like at the very start. Like those types of questions would just absolutely piss me off if I didn't like do my whole ramble, because then I'm like, I can't even get through my stuff. I can't even make through my arguments. So, like Hamilton or Russell as captain. The issue comes from with Mercedes is you are hindered so much. Like, I mean, I talked the Russell thing here, not even bothering looking at the comment. Hamilton makes that drastically more difficult because Russell's 12,000 captive. Hamilton is 15.3. Like, that is huge. That is a major hurdle to overcome. When you run Lewis, and this is, as I said, I implore you to compare everything, look at it, see what you're up against, and see what these things are doing. Like, this here, this is 3,700 left. Oops. This is 3,700 left for your main guys. Like, that's, you're giving up too much juice late in the going. We're not laying on guys who are going to finish in the top 10. It is absolutely vital that you try and get. First off, everybody needs to score points in your line. Yes, it'll work out sometimes where you have somebody that scores 0, and I get incredibly tilted by that. I get so fucking pissed. But like the 25 for winning, 18 for second, 15 for third, 12 for fourth, 10th for fifth, and 8th for 6th. You could argue that the 6th for 7th isn't nearly important, and past 8 doesn't really matter, but you need to have some finishes in the top 7. And the fact that you're hindered with the Lewis up there, that's why I would much rather, if you're gonna chase a Mercedes captain, chase the lower outcome and chase the lower likelihood situation that Russell does it, because you're getting different with your lines. 2, you're leaning to a build that most people are not going to lean into. 3, it's a much more friendly line of construction type of build, and so that's my argument there, which is why ever since DraftKings has made adjustments, which thank God they have, ever since they've made adjustments to the scoring, not the scoring, ever since they made adjustments to the pricing, since I guess they're just not going to fix the fucking scoring, it's made it more viable to build different lines, because you're encouraged to use different value plays as the captain, or like you're probably like the top 12 cheaper guys as the captain. It's very difficult to keep paying or to keep plugging in like the most expensive guys in the captain positions now. So that's always good. That's why I like that now that DraftKings has done that. Crip, no, why'd you redact? Why are you redacting all that? You don't have to take stuff off when I answer, dude. I'm not mad. I will admit that is a huge pet peeve of mine. I get incredibly pissed off when people retract comments on a live show, specifically if I haven't seen them. Like, I saw yours, but like for people who are looking, who might have the same questions as you, when you remove that, like, people can't already see that, and my audience isn't like a gigantic channel with like 2,000 people watching. When it's like less than 100 people, like, that stuff might be helping other guys. Like, I hate when knowledge is potentially lost and people redact comments and stuff. Yuki, good old Yuki Tsunoda. I haven't built with him yet. Haven't looked at it. Let's take a gander at good old Yuki. So, yet again, we're gonna go back here. Just eye test. Where are we at? Get him 15 plus 5. Does he get the bonus for passing people? He gets 2 bonus grid points. Okay, so we're looking at probably 7 points in that situation. Finishing 8, 12 in the captain. Okay, not bad, not horrible. Okay, so let's go here. Let's look at a Yuki line and see what that does. Probably Mercedes. Okay, that's probably what I would start building at. We might be able to do Red Bull, but Yuki, what is he, like $4,000 this week? Captain Yuki is 75. Ooh, man, that's more than I thought it was going to be. So that's 84. You add max to that, you're looking at 63. Okay, not bad. So typically how I build a line is I do these. I get this stuff done, and then here I drop to what is the value play I can get to, and I'll keep throwing in and out value plays and stuff, because I assume I'm gonna be able to get up to probably a 7 or 8K guy. So like a value play, who do I want? Probably want to possibly get to good old Joe. You can get to Kevin. For this example, I'm gonna use Magnussen just because I've talked Joe enough. So you do Yuki, Verstappen, Magnussen. Hey, that's 74. That's not bad. That's very, very... You can get to a lot of guys in that situation. At this point, 74. What is it if you put Alonso in there? That's 49. That's not bad. You could either go Alonso, clearly Russell, Science, which Science is such a fucking joke, dude. The guy fucking wrecks each and every week. It's so fucking annoying. He's so fucking bad. Dude, I couldn't believe he kept running at Monaco, man. We couldn't believe it. That makes a lot of sense. You got a lot of freedom here. This is another build, same thing. So we're kind of in the same situation with these. We didn't even talk about Esteban. 64, 85. That's not bad. You go. I'll come back and look at that once this is over. So I probably won't use Magnussen in that, but like this lineup, Ocon and then Russell, I want to look at that versus other guys. But that type of build that makes sense. That's why covering this sport is so freaking stupid, man. Building content for this would drive me insane. It did last year. It pissed me off a lot last year. Like esports stuff. You got people viewing articles. I guarantee you. Here, I'm gonna really shit on other things real fast. I'm going to look at just F1 DFS. Just want to see how many people. Oh, let's meet that. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, cool. We got 10 guys listed on this one here that you can play. That's helpful. Okay, that's 50% of the field. All right. Rotoballer, what you got? Are you behind a paywall today? No, you're not. How does F1 work? Okay, blah, blah. Okay, well, I mean, these guys are fucking talking McLaren constructor. Jesus Christ, that's a terrible play. There's no fucking way that works. There's no way I would play McLaren constructor. I'm telling you to play Nico, all right? Man, dude, I don't know if I would do that. And that's Jordan stuff, too. Man, Jordan, what are you doing? No, that's not. That says buy. Why? Dude, this Rotoballer. Dude, you guys are so fucking idiot. You guys, look at this article. I'm sorry. We'll go back to picks in a second. Maybe later. Not going to do that right now. That's why I did this, because I went to the bottom and I was like, Jordan wrote this? And I was like, no, this is just throw on the bottom for, like, what are these? This doesn't do anything. You know, like, just don't cover the sport. Nobody cover the sport. That's way easier. Anyway, let's continue to go through the comments and stuff. No, thank you, Pat, for the continuous support. It's supporters like you that want me to do this. I know you specifically hope that I did it last week, and yeah, so I'm happy to do that. We got an hour and a half until the thing locks. $4 is filled, $3 is filled, 15 will probably fill pretty soon, but even then, like, it's they opened a secondary 15, 235 people. Probably not worth your time to play that. So if you're not already in the 15, you got about 1,000 people left before it fills up. Will both Ferrari cars be able to pass both McLaren cars? Probably. I'd probably look towards that. It's very same thing with, like, you know, I argued the Hulkenberg thing. When we look at McLaren, because this is coming from a person who builds a lot of lines, and I throw McLaren lines in there. I know for a fact I've built, you know, when I do my 20 lines, I usually try and get kind of wacky with the constructor, and I've played McLaren constructor, and it just doesn't work. They need a astronomically good day, like almost like an anomaly. You know, like, look how much these guys are scoring week in and week out. Like, 2 points, 10 points, 2, 4, 19, you can make an argument for, okay? Do we see them scoring 19 points today? I do not see that. I don't believe McLaren is going to score 19 points today. Like, McLaren will most likely end up scoring, like, 4 in the constructor. Like, no shit, no lie, dude. Like, McLaren, a good day is scoring a 6 in the constructor. There's no fucking way they score you well. I don't know why I'm going on that McLaren rant. Because Kay asked about that. What's going on, Rick? Ocon captain with Mercedes constructor. Possibly. I haven't built with Esteban yet. Let's go and look at that. Let's go look at that build. So let's go. Let's go Ocon, Matt. Also, this is another situation where, like, if Max blows the motor, day's fucking done. Can't do anything there. Just money. Like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if Max blows the transmission today, that's just what it does. Like, it's unfortunate situation, but you got to build with him in mind of being there. So you got Esteban, Max. What is this at? It's 56. I typically prefer to try and have more. We might be able to make up for it because Ocon will probably score pretty decently. Well, I got him real fast. 4. Just eyeball test what we got. We got him at 9. Okay. All right. Not too bad. Not too shabby. If I can fucking see my fucking thing. A lot of value plays to get to. Let's see what this does. I really like getting to a situation where you can potentially get 2 guys like this build here with Ocon and Russell. I want to try and have another guy who's going to possibly compete for a top 5 finish today. Realistically, maybe Norris if you want to get different, but that's 62. You get 66 left for these. put in Yuki, but Yuki would probably not hit the points. I don't know if he could pay it off. You get Russell again. You can get the Sainz. It's certainly in contention, but I feel like I like these builds more. Hell, even taking Kevin out, whatever you want to do there. I like these builds more. Probably, I'd have to mess with this one in more detail, and I don't think the video would be very fun because that'd just be me running lines a lot. Like, honestly, what I do, because I use SaberSim, I would put these three in real fast as like lock those three in as your only captains and play them against each other. So that would, and I would mandate that it has each of those. So you get 50 lines of each Yuki, Joe, and Ocon, and I would just look at those three different builds in that 150, or in those 150 lines, see what it does, and so on and so forth. But I do believe that you could build there, and that's certainly more likely than probably a max captain, probably a Russell Let me see this real fast. What I like more, if you were going to go this route, I'd like playing Russell as the captain more than Ocon. I don't believe you're giving up that much. I think your upside is higher in terms of raw points that could potentially come from that. Because Esteban is probably, what I have him for 9, probably scores closer to 7 or 8. Whereas Russell, you can get him scoring, whatever the fuck I have him scoring at, which is more than 9. If you are interested in Esteban captain, I would encourage you to have fun and build with the Russell captain. I think it's slightly, I think you got more upside. I think you just got more raw points. Even if each of these guys don't end up being the optimal captain, you have a safer floor with the Russell. And yeah, so that's what I would answer your thing with. I think Albon is free square of the day because he would be his teammate because he's so far. So the free, who else? So when I look at that, sorry, I keep bouncing back and forth. Okay, so we got free 5 points, which is 100% legit. Okay, but that is expensive. The 42 specifically, with how the pricing has changed. When we look at the pricing here, we got Magnussen that's probably going to score better. Let me change this. Let me just look real fast. I'll keep him as 10th. So that's 7. 6, yeah, so it'd be 7 with total. So I think also ownership is very, very weird in F1. I think Alexander's going to be chalk, and that's not I'm not saying not play him because of that, but I think that free square Alexander can easily beat his teammate. I think that resonates with a lot of people who just throw, like, what is this? I want to see what the optimizers are saying real fast. He is not being used. Oh, this is the, my bad, hold on. This is when I locked in Russell. Let me look. Where is Alexander at? So Alexander Albon is not being prioritized. Well, okay. I don't know if I agree with that projection for him. Let me look. What the hell? No way. What the fuck is this? Let me bump up. Hold on. I gotta fix this. I don't like what SaberSim has Alexander at really fast. Hold on, let me get this on my bigger screen because I need to look at this because I do not like what SaberSim has Alexander and his teammate projected at. Because I do believe that Alexander does get that 5 points. They gave it to Sargent. I don't know what the hell that's about. Let me rerun this real fast. Move Sargent down a little. So if I run this with Alexander getting the 5 points, I want to see the amount that this wants to use him in the driver position. Let me update. Driver position, 1,500 lines with a $4,800. Yeah, it's still not using Alexander at all. That's me giving him 5 points, or the 6 points and stuff. So yeah, this is telling me that Alexander just isn't in that build. Like if we're building with Alexander, he's in the 7th, 8th, 14th, 38th highest projected lineups, and certainly more, but I'm not going to go through the whole 150. It's a Max captain, Fernando Alonso captain, Leclerc captain. Okay, well, I mean that makes sense. If you're paying up for your captain, you're forced to use the fuckers at the very bottom of the salary. So like all these lines have like Zhao in them, have Nick in them as well. Okay, so I mean that makes sense, but so that's because you're forcing them in there. It's not. Because the issue there is you have a high likelihood of somebody in this lineup scoring 1 point just for finishing the race. And these are projected to score 99 points, whereas my other ones are like scoring in the mid, probably 105, 109. Let me look at 100%. Yeah, 103. 102. I feel like you're giving up too much by playing Alexander in that position, or playing Alexander in general. Am I making sense? Is this helping at all? At least be honest there. Like, is this actually helpful, or is this just a gigantic waste of time? All right, 33 guys still here. So I mean, you guys haven't left, so I appreciate that. Is 4 points enough out of Sterling? I really don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because I just don't think it is, man. Let me get their pricing real fast just so it makes sense in the video. Or for this, oh boy, like, man, that's a lot. Like, Alexander, I think Magnussen's a better play. I think Bottas is a better play. Like, if you're thinking of Alexander beating his teammate, as I said, there's a real chance, just because it's F1, Bottas doesn't get passed by his teammate. So you can get Bottas, who is probably not going to score, or is not going to lose points by falling through the field in contrast to Alexander. Like, I just don't see Alexander being like a super like free square. Like, you need to play, like, if anything, it's Max, you know. But I just don't see that working out, man. Let's see what else we got here. Kevin Captain, yeah, certainly. Had me all confused there. Ferrari's such a mess, hard to know. Yeah. Got science, hate it, very helpful. I'm glad that it's helping you out, Pat. And I mean, I think that's really about it. I know we've been here for like nearly an hour, you know. Just because I'm not gonna probably do this again this year or whatever. If I can find my fucking thing. Always ask yourself these. If your lineup, if you're making projections, if you're building, whatever the case may be, F1 is just a bunch of if-then statements. Whether it's this constructor working out over this teammate being this teammate over that, what does that do for the line of construction, so on and so forth. If you're paying up for a constructor, or you're paying up, not even necessarily for the most expensive, but when you're paying up for a captain, that captain has to absolutely score well, or it's not going to work. So that affects the rest of your lines. It's general stuff, but I feel like a lot of people like really don't pay attention to this for F1. I see some of the, I see, like, we look through, like, some of the lineups, and they make fucking no sense. It's still to this day, you have people, like, blasting in 2 teammates in lineups that aren't even competing for the podium. Like, it makes sense, like, when you play Max and Perez in a driver, like, I can see the lineup idea, okay? But, like, dude, I've seen people, like, double punt 2 guys outside of the points. Like, they'll play, maybe not necessarily this weekend, but they play, like, both William players, or both William guys, when they wouldn't finish in the points. Like, that makes no sense. You have no upside there. You're giving up so much. And so, if I can offer any advice, always pay attention to this type of stuff when you build them. Compare lines. Really pay attention to really just pay attention to, like, what each line can do, what you're giving up by playing a certain guy in a situation, what you're gaining by playing a certain guy in a situation, and so on and so forth. And that's really all the advice I have, man. That's really all I can offer to help you guys out. We'll be back to covering NASCAR. If this stuff helps you out in any way, I mean, feel free to join the Patreon, support me. I got a PayPal link in the description below if you just want to send me a tip or whatever. Or if you win big and you want to send me some moolah, as some people have done before, following big wins, you can always do that. But mainly just best of luck, guys. I believe it's Father's Day. I don't know. I never had a father growing up. I had adult figures in my life, but man, my father ran out on me when I was a small little lad, so I don't even know when Father's Day is. So you guys have a good time and enjoy your Father's Day, I guess. And I will see you guys for more NASCAR talk later for Nashville, and I will see you guys later. So just thanks for being here, and see you guys later.